A young man who once sold drugs in Brooklyn's tough Marcy projects would one day sit at the table with billionaires, not as their entertainment, but as their equal. Before we start this amazing journey, I want you to know that what you're about to learn about Jay-Z might change how you think about building wealth. This isn't just another story about a famous person. This is a plan for turning talent into lasting power. Jay-Z's story is special because it shows us that where you start doesn't have to decide where you end up. Many of us grow up thinking that rich people are born rich, and poor people stay poor. But Jay-Z breaks that rule. He proves that with the right mindset, smart moves and hard work, you can change your life completely. This isn't about luck or magic, it's about making choices that build wealth over time. When we talk about success, we often only see the end result, the fancy cars, big houses and designer clothes. But the real story is in the journey, the struggles and the everyday decisions that add up over many years. Jay-Z didn't become a billionaire overnight. He built his empire brick by brick, deal by deal, always thinking about the long game instead of quick money. Brooklyn, New York, 1969. A baby named Sean Corey Carter was born in the tough neighborhood of the Marcy housing projects. Life was hard from the start. His father left the family, and he grew up surrounded by danger, poverty and drugs. For most kids in Marcy, the American dream seemed impossible. Young Sean saw the harsh reality of street life firsthand. After his father left, his mother Gloria raised him and his brothers and sisters by herself in a place where staying alive often meant making dangerous choices. School couldn't hold his quick mind. The streets became his classroom. Like many young men trapped in America's forgotten neighborhoods, he started selling drugs, a choice that could have easily ended with him in jail or dead. But something made Sean different. While hustling on the streets, he was also working on another skill, an amazing ability to write rhymes that told the true story of his life. Words became his real product. Beats became his real business. Using the name Jay-Z, he started building a name for himself in New York's tough rap scene. But record companies weren't interested. Their rejection became the first important moment in his wealth-building plan, one that would later become his trademark move. Growing up in Marcy projects taught Jay-Z lessons that no business school could. He learned how to read people, how to spot opportunities, and most importantly, how to survive when everything is against you. These weren't just life skills, they were business skills in disguise. When other kids were playing, Jay was watching the hustlers, learning about supply and demand, profit margins and risk management, without even knowing these formal terms. His mother Gloria played a huge role in his life. Despite their tough circumstances, she filled their home with music and encouraged her children to dream. She bought Jay-Z a boombox for his birthday, when they barely had enough for basics, seeing something in her son that others missed. This early support of his passion for music planted seeds that would grow into an empire years later. Instead of giving away his talent, Jay-Z and his partners Damon Dash and Kareem Burke started their own record company called Roc-A-Fella Records in 1995. This wasn't just another vanity project. This was a revolution disguised as a business. By owning the way his music was made and sold, Jay-Z kept control of his songs and profits, a lesson most artists still haven't learned even decades later. His first album Reasonable Doubt wasn't just a collection of songs, it was his business card to the world. While it wasn't an immediate hit, it showed everyone that Jay was a lyrical force who could turn street smarts into musical poetry. What followed was one of the most impressive runs in hip-hop history. In My Lifetime Vol. 2, Hard Knock Life, Vol. 3, Life and Times of S. Carter, each album building both his reputation and bank account. The tough lessons from his early life became the foundation for his business sense. Growing up watching hustlers rise and fall taught him valuable lessons about money flow, territory, and most importantly, judging risks. While others around him made flashy moves, Jay made careful long-term plans. This wasn't just luck or talent, it was street smarts translated to business strategy. Starting Roc-A-Fella Records was a turning point that many people miss when studying Jay-Z's rise to wealth. At the time, most artists were happy just to get a record deal. They would sign away their rights, their creative control, and most of their profits for the chance to be famous. But Jay-Z saw how this system was built to benefit the record labels, not the artists. By creating his own label, he did something revolutionary. He became both the talent and the company. This move was risky. He had to put his own money into producing albums, marketing and distribution. Many thought he was crazy to turn down traditional record deals. But Jay-Z understood something fundamental about wealth. Working for someone else might make you rich, but owning something makes you wealthy. This difference between being an employee versus an owner would become the foundation of his entire business philosophy. "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman," wasn't just a clever line, it was the summary of a way of thinking that would set him apart from virtually every other artist in history. While others saw themselves as creators looking for payment, Jay-Z understood early that real wealth comes from ownership, not income. This basic shift in thinking would prove to be worth billions. By 1999, Jay wasn't just rapping about the good life, he was living it. But unlike many artists who showed off temporary wealth, he was studying the game behind the game. While others spent fortunes on things that lose value, Jay was meeting with investment bankers, real estate developers, and investors, soaking up knowledge that would go far beyond music. The early 2000s saw Jay-Z change from rapper to business leader when he became president of Def Jam Recordings. This wasn't just a fancy title, it was a planned move that gave him rare insight into the corporate music world. During his time there, he signed artists like Rihanna and Ne-Yo, showing his eye for talent that makes money. But even this powerful position was just another step on his journey. What makes this part of his story especially remarkable is that he didn't simply hand his business affairs to experts. He dove deep into understanding how the industry works. Former Def Jam executives have noted his unusual attention to contract details and distribution models. While many artists focused only on advances and royalty percentages, Jay was analyzing business integration opportunities and international market strategies. This wasn't just ambition, it was methodical education in real time. Many people think Jay-Z simply had good advisors, or got lucky with his business moves. But those who've worked with him tell a different story. He's known for asking question after question, for reading every line of contracts, and for understanding the numbers better than many of the executives he deals with. This hands-on approach isn't common for celebrities, but it's been key to his success. He doesn't just make deals, he understands deals. During these years, Jay-Z was learning something that would separate him from almost every other entertainer: how to turn fame into lasting wealth. Most famous people make money from their talent, but lose it through bad deals and wasteful spending. Jay-Z was building a system where his fame could open doors, but his business sense would build rooms inside those doors that would make money long after the spotlight faded. 2008 marked another key year, when Jay married Beyoncé Knowles, forming what would become entertainment's most powerful couple. Their union wasn't just a marriage of hearts, but a joining of empires. Together they wouldn't just top the charts, they would redefine celebrity influence and wealth building. Their combined business smarts created a partnership that opened doors neither could access alone. Let's talk about how the billionaire lives, because it's not what you might expect. Yes, there's extreme luxury, but it's calculated luxury, things that grow in value rather than drain wealth. The $88 million Bel Air property he and Beyoncé bought isn't just a home, it's prime real estate in one of America's most valuable markets. Their $26 million East Hampton retreat and $6.85 million Tribeca apartment follow the same idea: enjoyment that doubles as investment. His car collection tells the same story. While many celebrities waste millions on vehicles that lose value the moment they leave the dealership, Jay's collection includes vintage classics and limited editions that often gain value. His reported $8 million Maybach Exelero isn't just transportation, it's a collector's item that grows in value. Even his famous $4.5 million Patek Philippe watch isn't mere jewelry, it's a heritage piece that typically increases in value by 5 to 10% each year. This isn't spending, it's alternative investing through luxury items that grow in value. What's particularly interesting about Jay's luxury purchases is the timing. Market experts have noticed that several of his major purchases happened during market corrections or buying opportunities. His $26 million Hamptons estate purchase came during a temporary softening in the ultra-luxury market in that region. Similarly, his art purchases often happen just before major price increases for particular artists. This suggests not just spending power but strategic timing, buying when others are fearful or distracted. But the real genius of Jay-Z's wealth building lies in his business portfolio, which goes far beyond music. In 2003, he launched the clothing line Rocawear, which he later sold for $204 million, while keeping marketing rights and licensing agreements. The cash from this sale fueled his next ventures. Let's break down the empire as it stands today. His music catalog alone is worth about $75 million. Roc Nation, his entertainment company that represents artists, athletes and produces content, is worth an estimated $100 million. The champagne brand Armand de Brignac, better known as Ace of Spades, brought Jay a reported $310 million when he sold 50% to luxury goods company LVMH in 2021. His cognac partnership with Bacardi for Douzy added another $100 million to his portfolio when he sold his majority stake. The streaming service Tidal, which he bought for $56 million, and sold a majority stake to Square for $297 million, showed his ability to spot digital trends and make money from them. Add to this an art collection valued at over $70 million, featuring works by Jean-Michel Basquiat and other top artists, plus smart investments in companies like Uber, SpaceX and Robinhood, and you begin to see the diversification that protects his wealth from market ups and downs. But perhaps most impressive is his foresight in real estate investments. Beyond his personal properties, Jay has quietly gathered commercial holdings in Brooklyn, Manhattan, and Los Angeles, areas that have seen huge appreciation. Unlike the flashy real estate moves of some celebrities, many of these investments remain unpublicized, generating passive income while growing in value. What often goes unnoticed in discussions about Jay's wealth is his timing in market exits. The Rocawear sale happened just before the 2008 financial crisis, would have significantly lowered the brand's value. His partial exit from Tidal came as the streaming wars intensified and smaller platforms faced increasing competitive pressure. His champagne deal with LVMH occurred as the luxury market was recovering after the pandemic. This isn't just luck, it's strategic positioning and market awareness that even professional investors would envy. What truly sets Jay-Z apart isn't just what he owns, it's how he negotiates. Former executives who've sat across the table from him consistently mention his unusual approach. Unlike many celebrities who rely entirely on managers and lawyers, Jay reportedly studies contracts carefully, understands leverage points, and stays unusually calm during negotiations. This hands-on approach has saved him millions in management fees while ensuring he keeps control of his ventures. His partnership philosophy reveals another layer of his business smarts. Rather than simply endorsing products for quick money like many celebrities, Jay insists on ownership positions or joint ventures. When he promoted Armand de Brignac champagne in his 2006 music video Show Me What You Got, he wasn't just earning an endorsement fee, he had an ownership stake. This ownership over endorsement strategy has multiplied his returns dramatically compared to traditional celebrity marketing deals. Former Def Jam executive Kevin Liles once revealed that Jay's negotiation strategy often involves presenting himself as the solution to a company's problem, rather than an artist seeking opportunity. This subtle psychological positioning has repeatedly resulted in deals where partners effectively bid against themselves to secure his involvement. Business associates also note his selective silence as a negotiation tactic. While many executives feel compelled to fill silence with concessions, Jay reportedly uses strategic pauses to create discomfort that often leads counterparties to improve their offers without prompting. This psychological mastery of negotiation dynamics reflects both street wisdom and boardroom sophistication, a rare combination that gives him unique leverage. Despite his empire building, Jay-Z has maintained a surprisingly private family life with Beyoncé and their 3 children, Blue Ivy, Sir and Rumi. Their $1.5 million annual rental of the Hampton Sandcastle property gives the family privacy while they enjoy its bowling alley, basketball court, and virtual golf. Their parenting style reportedly balances extreme privilege with grounding principles, with both Jay and Beyoncé emphasizing education, cultural awareness, and understanding their unique position as Black culture's royal family. But even family life integrates with empire building. Blue Ivy became the youngest person ever to appear on a Billboard chart when she was featured on Jay's track Glory, just days after her birth. By age 7, she was already developing as a performer and brand, winning awards for her contributions to her parents' projects. This isn't just cute family collaboration, it's generational wealth strategy in action. Insiders report that the Carter children are being raised with an unusual education in both artistic expression and business fundamentals. Blue Ivy has reportedly shadowed her parents in business meetings from an early age, absorbing lessons about ownership and creative control that most business school students never grasp. This isn't helicopter parenting, it's apprenticeship in empire maintenance and growth. When Jay-Z thinks about success, he doesn't just think about his own life, he thinks about creating something that will last for generations. This is a different kind of thinking than most people have. Instead of focusing on getting rich now, he focuses on building systems that will keep generating wealth long after he's gone. This means teaching his children not just how to spend money, but how to make it, grow it, and use it to help others. Jay-Z often talks about how his father's absence taught him what not to do as a parent. He's determined to be present for his children, while also teaching them the value of work, creativity, and independence. He and Beyoncé could easily give their children everything without them having to work for anything, but instead, they're showing them how to build their own paths, just with better starting points than their parents had. What truly distinguishes Jay-Z's wealth is how he's used it for social impact. The Sean Carter Foundation has provided over $4 million in scholarships to students facing economic hardships. His Reform Alliance, co-founded with Meek Mill and others, has committed over $50 million to overhaul America's probation and parole system, after seeing how it traps Black Americans in cycles of incarceration. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Jay and Beyoncé quietly donated millions to provide testing in underserved communities. When posting bail for protesters arrested during the Black Lives Matter movements became necessary, the couple again stepped up without seeking publicity. His approach to charity reflects the same strategic thinking as his business ventures. Rather than simply writing checks for photo opportunities, Jay focuses on system-wide change and leverage points. The Reform Alliance doesn't just help individuals, it targets policy change that can impact millions. His scholarship programs don't just fund education, they create networks of mentorship and opportunity that multiply impact. This systems-level thinking separates meaningful philanthropy from vanity giving. Jay-Z knows what it's like to have nothing. He remembers the feeling of hunger, of cold apartments in winter, of watching his mother work multiple jobs just to keep the family afloat. These aren't distant memories for him, they're the driving force behind much of his charity work. He doesn't help others because it looks good, or makes him feel important. He helps because he's been there. There's a pattern to Jay-Z's giving that shows his deeper understanding of poverty. He doesn't just hand out money, he creates pathways out of poverty. His scholarship foundation doesn't just pay for college, it mentors students, helps them network and prepares them for careers. His criminal justice reform work doesn't just help individual cases, it fights to change laws that keep people trapped in cycles of prison and poverty. Even when he invests in businesses in poor neighborhoods, he doesn't just look for profit,
He looks for ways to create jobs and opportunities where they're needed most. In a world where many wealthy people give to get their names on buildings, or to feel good about themselves, Jay-Z gives in ways that actually change systems. He understands that real change doesn't come from charity alone. It comes from changing the rules of the game, so more people have a fair chance to win. As Jay enters his 6th decade, his focus has visibly shifted toward legacy and generational impact. His investments now prioritize Black ownership and community development, including backing funds specifically targeting minority entrepreneurs. When he raps "Financial Freedom, My Only Hope" on 444's legacy, it isn't just personal, it's a mission statement for his community. Perhaps the most powerful example of his strategic thinking came in 2021, when he sold half of his champagne brand to luxury giant LVMH. While the $300+ million deal made headlines, what was more significant was the partnership structure. Rather than being completely absorbed into LVMH, the deal gave Jay access to LVMH's global distribution network while maintaining significant creative control and equity upside. It wasn't just a cash out, it was positioning for global scaling that would have been impossible independently. Similarly, when he sold a majority stake in Tidal to Square Now Block, the deal wasn't just about immediate profit. It strategically positioned the streaming service within a financial technology ecosystem that could potentially revolutionize how artists receive payment, a long-term vision that could disrupt the entire music economy. What makes these late-career moves particularly noteworthy is that they're increasingly focused on creating infrastructure rather than just personal wealth. His venture fund investments specifically target companies addressing system barriers for minority entrepreneurs. His media partnerships prioritize Black storytelling with authentic voices. His real estate developments often include community benefit agreements that ensure local residents share in economic gains. This isn't just charity, it's redesigning systems that have historically excluded communities like the one he came from. The Boy from Marcy projects didn't just beat the odds, he changed the game entirely. From selling drugs to selling companies to conglomerates, Jay-Z's journey represents something far more valuable than luxury. It represents possibility. He has shown that with strategic thinking, ownership principles and calculated risk-taking, generational wealth can be built even starting from society's margins. His story matters not because of the private jets or vintage champagne, but because it proves that excellence can overcome systems designed for your failure. When he raps "I can't help the poor if I'm one of them, so I got rich and gave back," to me that's the win-win. He's expressing a philosophy of empowerment that challenges both capitalist greed and socialist dependency. The real lessons from Jay-Z's billion-dollar lifestyle aren't about luxury, they're about leveraging talent into ownership, converting fame into equity, and transforming success into legacy. While we can't all become billionaires, we can all apply his principles of ownership, diversification, and long-term thinking to whatever we build. His journey shows what's possible when raw talent meets strategic vision. It's about understanding that true wealth isn't measured in what you buy, but in generational impact and system change. It's about recognizing that independence isn't just artistic, it's financial, and perhaps most importantly, it's about seeing beyond immediate satisfaction toward a legacy that outlasts any individual lifetime. What makes Jay-Z's blueprint so powerful is that it didn't require special connections or privileges to start. He began with nothing but his talent and determination. He didn't wait for someone to give him permission or opportunity. He created his own. This is perhaps the most important lesson of all. In a world that often feels designed to keep certain people down, sometimes the most revolutionary act is to succeed on your own terms. Jay-Z's rise also teaches us about resilience. He faced rejection, criticism, legal troubles, and personal setbacks. There were many points where he could have given up or settled for less, but each time he regrouped, learned from his mistakes, and came back stronger. This ability to bounce back from failure is just as important as his business skills. Many people with talent never reach their potential because they can't handle setbacks. Jay-Z shows us that falling down isn't failure, staying down is. The blueprint also includes knowing when to evolve. Jay-Z didn't stay a rapper forever. He saw how the music industry was changing and positioned himself accordingly. When streaming started disrupting traditional music sales, he was ready with Tidal. When hip-hop fashion became mainstream, he had already built and sold Rocawear. This ability to sense shifts in culture and markets before they happen has allowed him to stay relevant and profitable for decades. This moment right here, this is where your life can go in two different directions. Direction 1. You read this story, think that was interesting, and continue scrolling through endless content that entertains but never transforms. 5 years from now, you're in the exact same financial position, still trading time for money, still building someone else's dream. Direction 2. You recognize what just happened here. You didn't just read about Jay-Z, you received the decoded blueprint that took a kid from Marcy projects to billionaire status, and now you have an important choice to make. Most people reading right now will choose direction 1. They'll nod, maybe leave a comment but take no action. That's exactly why the wealth gap keeps growing. Knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. But I can already tell you're different. You stayed until the end, because something inside you knows you're meant for more. So here's your next move. The truth no one else will tell you. We're living in the greatest wealth transfer period in human history. While most people are distracted by social media drama and consumer debt, the smart ones are quietly positioning themselves to capture massive upside in the next decade. You don't need to start with millions. Jay didn't. You don't need privileged connections. Jay didn't. What you need is the right strategy, unbreakable discipline, and the mindset shift from consumer to owner. The knowledge gap isn't what's holding most people back, it's the implementation gap. So ask yourself right now, are you going to be someone who knows, or someone who does? Your empire is waiting to be built. Stay strategic, stay hungry, and never settle for less than ownership. Let's be honest, most success stories are hard to relate to. They involve people who had special advantages from the start. Wealthy parents, elite education, powerful connections. That's why Jay-Z's story matters so much. He started with less than nothing. He faced obstacles that would have broken most people, and yet he built one of the most impressive business empires of our time. What sets Jay-Z apart isn't just his business moves, it's his mindset. From the beginning, he refused to accept the limitations others tried to place on him. When record labels wouldn't sign him, he didn't give up on music, he started his own label. When fashion brands wanted him as a spokesperson, he didn't settle for a check, he built his own clothing line. When alcohol companies wanted his endorsement, he didn't just take their money, he created his own brands. This owner's mindset is available to all of us, regardless of where we start. It begins with a simple question: why am I building wealth for someone else instead of myself? Whether you're an artist, professional, or entrepreneur, the path to real wealth comes from owning things. Your creative work, your business, your investments, not just collecting paychecks. The greatest gift Jay-Z gives us isn't entertainment, it's inspiration. He shows us what's possible when you combine talent with vision, hustle with strategy, and ambition with patience. He reminds us that no circumstance is permanent unless we accept it as such. And perhaps most importantly, he demonstrates that the true measure of success isn't what you accumulate, but what you build that continues beyond you.